Welcome to an exploration of Guy Debord's influential work, The Society of the Spectacle. Written in 1967, this book challenges us to rethink how modern society operates, especially in the age of mass media and constant images. Debord argues that our lives are increasingly shaped by representations, images, and appearances rather than direct experiences. In this video, we'll journey through his key ideas, starting with the concept of the spectacle itself, and see how it continues to shape our world today. Let's begin by understanding what Debord means by the spectacle and why it matters. Debord opens with a striking observation. In societies dominated by modern production, life appears as an immense accumulation of spectacles. What does this mean? Essentially, our direct experiences are replaced by representations, images, signs, and appearances. The real lived world recedes, and what we see is a constructed reality. This separation between reality and its representation is, for Debord, a defining feature of modern life. We are surrounded by images that claim to show us the world, but in fact, they distance us from genuine experience. This is the perfected separation that Debord describes. What exactly is the spectacle? Debord insists it's not just a collection of images or a visual overload from mass media. Instead, the spectacle is a social relationship between people, mediated by images. It's a worldview that has become materialized, a reality in itself. The spectacle shapes how we see, think, and interact, turning even the deceivers into the deceived. It's not just about what we watch on screens, it's about how our entire society is organized around appearances and representations. Debord emphasizes that the spectacle is everywhere. It's not an add-on to society, but its very heart. News, propaganda, advertising, and entertainment all serve as models for how we live. The spectacle affirms the choices already made by those in power, justifying the existing system and monopolizing our attention outside of work. It's a constant presence, shaping our desires, beliefs, and even our sense of reality. One of Debord's most profound insights is that the spectacle unifies society by dividing it. The spectacle presents itself as the focal point of vision and consciousness, but in reality it creates a domain of delusion and false consciousness. The unity it offers is superficial, a language of universal separation. People are linked not by genuine relationships, but by their shared isolation, each relating to the spectacle rather than to each other. Spectacle is not just about what we see, but about how we relate to one another. Social relations are mediated by images, turning genuine human connections into representations. This means that our interactions are increasingly filtered through screens, advertisements, and media narratives. The spectacle becomes the lens through which we view ourselves and others, shaping our identities and relationships. Debord argues that the spectacle is not just a visual phenomenon but an objective reality. It's a worldview that has been materialized, shaping both the form and content of our lives. The spectacle justifies the existing system, making its values and goals seem natural and inevitable. It's a self-reinforcing cycle. The spectacle affirms the system, and the system produces more spectacle. The language of the spectacle consists of signs produced by the dominant system of production. These signs are not neutral, they are the end products of a system that shapes our perceptions and desires. The spectacle is both the result and the project of the current mode of production, reflecting and reinforcing the values of the ruling order. In the world of the spectacle, reality and its representation are intertwined. The spectacle falsifies reality, but it is also a real product of that reality. Lived experience is invaded by the spectacle, and over time, reality aligns itself with its representation. This reciprocal alienation is the essence of modern society, where the true becomes a moment of the false. Spectacle affirms appearances and identifies all social life with them. It's not just about what is shown, but about the identification of life itself with what appears. A critique that grasps the spectacle's essential character reveals it as a visible negation of life, a negation that has taken on a visible form. The spectacle is both the affirmation of appearances and their critique. Spectacle presents itself as a vast, inaccessible reality that cannot be questioned. Its message is simple: what appears is good, and what is good appears. This passive acceptance is imposed by the spectacle's monopoly of appearances, leaving little room for genuine dialogue or dissent. The spectacle's power lies in its ability to appear unquestionable. Debord describes the spectacle as tautological. Its means and ends are identical. It is the sun that never sets over the empire of modern passivity, covering the globe and basking in its own glory. The spectacle's self-reinforcing nature makes it difficult to challenge, as it constantly reproduces itself and its logic. Modern society is not accidentally spectacular, it is fundamentally so. The spectacle is the visual reflection of the ruling economic order, where development is everything and goals are nothing. The spectacle aims only at itself, constantly expanding and justifying its own existence. Spectacle is the leading production of present-day society. It embellishes objects, articulates the system's rationales, and creates an ever-increasing multitude of image objects. The spectacle is not just a byproduct of production, it is a central product, shaping how we see and interact with the world. The spectacle subjects human beings to itself because the economy has already subjugated them. It is both a reflection of the production of things and a distortion of the producers. The spectacle develops for its own sake, reinforcing the power of the economy over individuals. Debord traces a shift in society, from being to having to appearing. Human fulfillment is no longer about what one is, but what one possesses, and now how one appears. Individual reality is shaped by social forces and allowed to appear only if it is not actually real. The spectacle turns all reality into appearances. As the real world is transformed into images, those images become real beings motivating hypnotic behavior. The spectacle elevates sight above other senses, making the most abstract sense the most adaptable to modern society. The spectacle is not just images or sounds, it is whatever escapes people's activity and eludes practical reconsideration. It is the opposite of dialogue. The spectacle inherits the weaknesses of Western philosophy, which tried to understand activity through vision. The spectacle doesn't realize philosophy, it philosophizes reality, reducing concrete life to speculation. Our lives become objects of contemplation rather than action. Debord sees the spectacle as a material reconstruction of religious illusion. Technology hasn't dispersed the mists of religion, it has brought them down to earth. Even mundane aspects of life become impenetrable as the spectacle embeds itself in daily existence. The spectacle is the technological version of humanity's internal separation. As long as necessity is socially dreamed, dreaming remains necessary. The spectacle is the bad dream of a modern society in chains expressing its wish for sleep. The spectacle is the guardian of that sleep, keeping society passive and uncritical. The root of the spectacle lies in the oldest social specialization, the specialization of power. The spectacle speaks for all other activities, acting as hierarchical society's ambassador to itself. Its most modern aspect is also its most archaic, reinforcing old patterns of domination. Spectacle is the ruling order's nonstop discourse about itself, a monologue of self-praise and self-portrait at the stage of total domination. It conceals the true character of social relations, making them appear as natural and inescapable. The spectacle is not inevitable, it is a form that chooses its own technological content and shapes society accordingly. Separation is the alpha and omega of the spectacle. Earlier, religion justified the order of society, offering imaginary compensation for real poverty. The modern spectacle, however, depicts what society could deliver but rigidly separates what is possible from what is permitted. It keeps people unconscious as they pass through changes, making its own rules and revealing itself as an autonomous power. General separation of worker and product eliminates direct communication between producers. As products and production become more concentrated, communication is monopolized by system managers. The triumph of this separation-based system proletarianizes the whole world, making genuine connection increasingly rare. With the success of separate production, life is increasingly identified with non-working time within activity. But this inactivity is not free from productive activity, it's a product of the system. Modern leisure is not liberation from work, but submission to what work has produced. Real activity is channeled into the construction of the spectacle. The reigning economic system is a vicious circle of isolation. Its technologies, from cars to television, reinforce the conditions that create lonely crowds. The spectacle recreates its own presuppositions, deepening isolation even as it claims to connect us. The spectacle was born from the world's loss of unity. The abstract nature of labor and production is reflected in the spectacle, which is concrete only in its abstraction. Spectators are linked only by their one-way relationship to the spectacle, reunited only in their separateness. The more the spectator contemplates, the less they live. The more they identify with dominant images, the less they understand their own desires. Gestures and actions are no longer their own but those of someone else. The spectacle's estrangement leaves individuals feeling at home nowhere because the spectacle is everywhere. Workers do not produce themselves but a power independent of themselves. The abundance they generate is experienced as dispossession. As alienated products accumulate, all time and space become foreign. The spectacle is the map of this new world, displaying the forces that have escaped us. The spectacle's social function is the concrete manufacture of alienation. Economic expansion is primarily the expansion of this sector. Alienation grows alongside the economy. The more society develops, the more alienated it becomes, as the spectacle was at its origin. People produce every detail of their world with increasing power, yet find themselves more separated from it. The closer life comes to being their own creation, the more they are excluded from it. The spectacle is capital accumulated to the point that it becomes images. Debord connects the spectacle to the commodity. The spectacle incorporates all aspects of human activity, turning living values into abstract values. The commodity, once trivial, becomes complex and full of metaphysical subtleties. The spectacle is the ultimate fulfillment of commodity fetishism. The spectacle replaces the perceptible world with a selection of images, making itself the perceptible par excellence. The world of the commodity dominates all living experience, showing itself as the source of estrangement between people and their products. The spectacle's language reduces everything to quantitative equivalence. Quality is lost at every level, from objects to behavior. The system develops only within the quantitative, shunning reality and depth in favor of measurable, exchangeable values. The commodity's development has turned the whole planet into a single world market. Economic growth liberates societies from natural pressures but not from the economy itself. the abundance of commodities is just an augmented survival, not true liberation. With the Industrial Revolution, the commodity became visible as a power colonizing all social life. Political economy established itself as the science of domination, and the spectacle became the stage where the commodity colonizes every aspect of society. Commodification is now so pervasive that we see nothing else. The world we see is the world of the commodity. Modern production extends its dictatorship, fragmenting individuals and returning the total commodity in pieces, overseen by specialized sciences. The spectacle is a permanent opium war, forcing people to equate goods with commodities and satisfaction with survival. Consumable survival must expand endlessly, always including privation. The real consumer becomes a consumer of illusions. Automation, the most advanced sector of industry, forces the system to preserve labor as a commodity, even as technology could eliminate work. New jobs are created in the service sector, distributing and glorifying commodities, convincing people to buy what they don't need. Exchange value, once a representative of use value, now dominates. Use is seen only in terms of exchange, and all fulfillment is monopolized by exchange value. The spectacle is money one can only look at, a pseudo-use of life. Modern consumerism imposes pseudo-needs, breaking the organic development of social needs. Artificiality overpowers living desires, and the cumulative power of this artificiality falsifies all social life. The spectacle's promises of unity and satisfaction are always postponed. The spectacle presents things as eternal but is based on change. Its instability is its natural condition, yet it seeks to appear stable and dogmatic. Each new product or leader is replaced and only the system endures. The spectacle masks the class division underlying the unity of capitalist production. What brings people together also keeps them apart. Rationality and exploitation grow together, producing society's abstract power and concrete lack of freedom. Debord turns to the proletariat, the class that can become the subject of history. Unlike the bourgeoisie, whose revolution is complete, the proletarian revolution is a project yet to be realized. Its power lies in consciousness, not just in economic development. For the proletariat, theory must become practical thought, historical consciousness operating on the totality of the world. The fusion of knowledge and action is essential, and the forms of organization must reflect this unity. Only through practice can theory be validated and society transformed.